So I literally just watched my first German movie. Let's get into it. So Cut Off is an action, horror, mystery thriller, and oh buddy, does it hit all those marks very well. It follows multiple main characters at once. The first character is named Linda, and she is attempting to escape from her abusive, nasty, manipulative stalker ex-boyfriend Danny. And because of her paranoia, that is how she gets wrapped up in the mystery itself. She is trapped on a main island that she can't escape due to a storm that is keeping her there. But on the main island, keeping him there, is another one of the main characters named Paul. He gets wrapped up into this mystery the moment that he is examining a corpse and he finds something suspicious in it. Once he does, his entire life gets turned upside down like this is the Fresh Prince of freaking Bel-Air. But don't you worry about either of these characters getting lonely, because not only can they call each other because cell phones actually work in this horror movie, but they all got partners, they all got buddies, somebody to keep them level-headed and yet drive them crazy. And if you're afraid of thinking the same thing I did right when they popped on the screen, where you're like, man, they're just going to be like love interests, they're going to be pointless, they're going to be adding to body count, well, you don't got to worry about that, because the characters actually have character. They have their own personality, they have their own lives, they have their own likes and dislikes, they have their own reasons to be a part of the movie and a part of the mystery, and it all makes sense. I like it. I can roll with it. That's good. I like that. But I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably like, Trevor, homie, you're talking about a mystery, but I don't know what you're talking about. Don't worry, I got you covered. I'm about to do this in a way that has like no spoilers whatsoever, okay? Now this woman gets kidnapped, and these characters on both parts of the map, one on the mainland, one on the island, they gotta work together and collect evidence in order to figure out this mystery. They gotta crack this case wide open, and they gotta do it together. But, if they're on another island, how are they gonna do that? I'm glad you asked. You know how I mentioned earlier that the phones actually work in this movie? Well, not only do the phones work, but their brains work too. They're able to talk about and describe the situation they're in. They're able to talk about and describe the evidence they find. They're able to actually have full-on human, realistic conversations. And I think that's what surprised me the most, because even the character that could be possibly considered the dumb character is like 10 times smarter than the smart character in the latest Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's crazy. And that was really refreshing, because this didn't feel like it was pushing some kind of agenda or ticking any boxes or trying to filter in some kind of stereotype here and there in order to have some kind of political point. This felt like a movie with a script written by somebody that can walk in and be like, you know what? I know how the human brain actually works. I know that social interaction is more than just saying stupid things over and over and over again and trying to make somebody somewhere laugh. There's no character in here that just makes jokes and that's the entirety of their character. Every character in here has emotions, has flaws, has reasons to do things that make sense. They're more than just a cliche or a trope. And I'm like, whoa, are all the German thrillers like this? I have no idea. This is the first one I've watched, but oh boy, it's already done better than a lot of the latest American movies I've watched. Whoa, Trevor, bro, you're getting sidetracked, man. You're supposed to be talking about the mystery. You're not supposed to be back on the characters. Shoot. Yeah, you're right, okay. Gonna get right back on topic. Now, the mystery starts off feeling kind of like something I saw in Criminal Minds about 123 times, mixed with something I saw in Law & Order about 42 times, especially the Special Victims Unit, if that gives you any hint about what we might be talking about here. But by the end, it was unlike anything I've ever seen before. And there were a lot of points in here where I was like, you know what, this is gonna happen. And a few times I got it right. But the other times, boy was it satisfying to be wrong. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't expect that. Boom, what mind blown. Thank you. Thank you for doing something different instead of relying on the same thing I've seen a million times before just because it worked a couple of those times. It actually had some new ideas. By the time it ends, there is two main antagonists in my opinion, and one of them is just a straight up dirtbag with no redeeming qualities. But then the other one, the one that is more of the mastermind behind everything, he actually had some fair points. His way of going about it, pretty awful. But considering everything that he went through that got him to that point, I don't completely blame him. I mean, I'd never condone anything that he did. I wouldn't condone any of that, but I'm not going to condemn his ideology. I'm not going to condemn his emotions and how he feels and how he is trying to correct that from happening to anyone else. I'm not going to condemn him for that. especially since we saw another character go through the same thing in this movie. The main antagonist, mastermind antagonist anyway, wasn't the first one to feel the pain that he felt. And the fact that he tried to make something happen so it doesn't happen to anyone else, I can completely understand that. If he was the first one that it happened to, I could still understand it a little bit. But the fact that he wasn't the first one that happened to, it kind of got me on his side. Not his actions. I'm going to put that in there again. His actions, nope. Couldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole with anything that he did, okay? I will condemn all of his actions. But the thought processes behind it, that I can get behind. And I kind of like it whenever a movie can do that. When a movie can make me think, man, this guy is a complete dirtbag, but he's a dirtbag with a point. Now, the last thing I want to touch on is the fact that the cinematography in this movie is absolutely gorgeous. This is probably one of the most beautiful movies I've watched in a while. I mean, it is pretty. You know what else would look really good? Is if you hit that like button, if you subscribed, and if you commented down below. Because this movie was 20 times better than Morbius. Woo! Sorry, just gotta bash on Morbius any chance I get. What a waste of money. Anyway, thank you. Have a good day.